where we see a co-founder of a big company named Alpha, Miles, who gives a puzzle box to his 5 friends. And here we see Miles' friends, in whom politician Claire, then scientist Lionel, fashion designer Bertie, YouTuber Duke, and finally, the ex-CEO of Alpha Company, Andy. These 5 were sent to the same mystery box by Miles. Now everyone opens the box. And in the box sent by Miles, everyone gets an invitation card to Greece. In the same card, Miles has also written that he wants to play a game called Murder Mystery with all his friends. Now we see Blanco, who is a very cunning detective, that is, Daniel Craig. Blanco also gets a similar puzzle box, after which, all these people come to Greece. The same Bertie has come with his assistant Peg and Duke, his girlfriend Whiskey. Now here comes the ex-CEO of the company, Andy, which everyone was surprised to see, because Miles had removed Andy from the company years ago due to a fight. Then Miles sends a ship to bring him to his private island called Glass Onion, after which these people reach the island, where Miles meets everyone and shows them the island. Now after seeing the island, everyone goes to their rooms. But then Miles calls Blanco, i.e. the detective, to his office and asks, "What are you doing here? Because I didn't send you any invitation." On which Blanco shows the same invitation card to Miles and says, "I got this inside the puzzle box, and maybe one of your friends must have reset the puzzle box and sent it to me again, as a joke." And after hearing this, Miles says it was good in a way. Now that you have come here, it was good in a way. A very big detective like you is included in my murder mystery game. Now after a while, everyone gathers in the pool to pass time, where in the middle of the conversation, Duke tells everyone that he was going somewhere last week. And then Miles almost killed me while driving at high speed. At the same time, everyone is resting in one place. And then Blanco, i.e. the detective, asks Miles, "How did you and all your friends become so successful?" On which Miles says, "Whatever we want to start, we should always start small, which will become big in the future. And in the same way, we are all successful today." And then Andy comes there, who used to be the CEO of Miles's company, and Miles had fired him for the fight, and says to Blank, "Today these people, whatever it is only because of Miles who helped everyone in their wrong deeds." And saying this, Andy leaves from there. Now Miles's friend, fashion designer Bertie, his secretary Peg, comes to meet Miles, and says to him, "You told Bertie to give a false statement in front of the media, but I don't want Bertie to give a false statement. His image is already very bad in the media." But Miles says that he will have to give a statement. But Blank is also listening to both of them from a distance. On the other hand, we see Duke, who is roaming on this island. Then he sees his girlfriend Whiskey and Miles together. That is, both of them were having an affair, and Whiskey was cheating on Duke. But Duke doesn't say anything, and Blank is also watching all this from a distance. Anyway, it's night now, and Miles holds a party for everyone, where he shows everyone the real painting of Mona Lisa, which he had rented from the museum in France. Then Miles gives a piece of solid hydrogen fuel to Blank, and says, "After a week, I am going to call the leaders of the world on this island, and I will tell them about solid hydrogen fuel. My company has found it from salt water, and the world will know it by the name of clear fuel, and all electronic things can run with it." But then Lennon, who is a scientist in Miles's company, he stops Miles and says, "Look, the investigation has not been completed in this. Our scientists need more time to test it, and this thing can be very dangerous." But then Miles says, "Maybe you don't know. This whole island is running on clear fuel today." Now these people are sitting together at the dinner table. Then Miles says, "You guys have to play a game called Murder Mystery, in which my fake murder will happen, and one of you will be the murderer, about which you have to find out." But at the same time, we see the coming detective of Blank, who tells while sitting, it will be a murder mystery. But Miles doesn't like this thing, and he calls Blank alone and says, "You ruined all the fun of the game." On which Blank says, "I have done this deliberately, because all the people coming here have some reason to kill you, and maybe your life can be in danger." But after hearing this, Miles asks Blank, "These are all my friends. Why would they want to kill me?" On which Blank says, "Your scientist Lennon is not happy with you, because despite his refusal, you are working on clear fuel. So your friend Claire, who is a politician, you had threatened him, that if he did not approve the fuel project, then you will make his opponent win the election. And your friend Birdie, you are making him lie in front of the media, and Duke has found out about you and Whiskey's affair. As far as your ex-CEO Andy is concerned, he is already fighting with you. That is, all these friends are your enemies somewhere. Miles now shows Blank his and his friend's photos. And there is also a napkin under the photo. Here Miles says to Blank, the idea to start this Alpha company, I had made it sitting in a bar called Glass Onion, and I had written this whole idea on a napkin, and I have kept that napkin safe till today. Here on the other side, there is a debate with Andy's Duke, after which Andy goes from there. But that's when Blank and Miles come there. Here suddenly Duke's phone starts ringing, and he gets a lot of news alerts from Google, and this news alert, and he laughs while showing Miles, due to which Miles's face turns completely white. Now we will know exactly what Duke showed him, but then Miles makes an announcement, and says that he is putting Duke at work in a big post in his company, and Duke is very happy to hear this, and he starts drinking the drink given to Miles, and then his breath gets stuck, and Duke is killed while watching. Now everyone gets scared due to his sudden death, and their doubt comes to Andy, because she had disappeared before the party. Here Miles's eyes go to Duke's glass, on which a name was written, after seeing which Miles understands that the killer wanted to kill him, but Duke was killed by mistake. The same Duke's gun and his phone had also disappeared from there, and then the island's lights suddenly turn off, and everyone starts running here and there. The same Detective Blank comes out, where he meets Andy, and he tells Andy about Duke's death. But then someone shoots Andy and kills him too. Now the scene goes into the flashback, where Andy's twin sister Helen came to meet Blank at his house. And here we come to know that Andy died a week ago, and she committed suicide. Here Helen, who is Andy's twin sister, gives the same puzzle box to Blank, and says that I have Andy's diary. After reading it, I came to know that Andy was very happy, and she can't commit suicide. My suspicion is on her friends, and you will have to find out about her murderer. And she gives him a mystery box. Andy says that the idea to start the Alpha company came to my sister Andy first, who wrote all this on a napkin. But after 2 years, Andy and Miles had a lot of fights over clear fuel, because Andy didn't want clear fuel to be used. And that's why Miles gave false testimony in court with the help of his friends. Andy had only one proof to prove himself. That was his napkin, on which he had written the idea of Alpha Company. But suddenly during the case, that napkin also disappeared, and Miles made a fake napkin just like Andy had made. And because of this, Andy lost this case. But one day Andy got that real napkin, and he put that napkin in a red envelope, and took a picture and sent it to all his friends except Miles, so that it can be proved that the idea was Andy's. But the next day Andy died, and that envelope, which had the real napkin, also disappeared somewhere. Now after hearing all this, Blank understands that Andy's murderer is one of Miles's 4 friends, and he tells Helen that I will find out about Andy's murderer, and you will come with me to Miles's island as Andy, so that you can spy on all the people there, and after spying on them, send all the things to me. After which Helen comes to that island with Blank as Andy, where Helen, a scientist, listens to the talks of scientist Lennon and politician Claire. Lennon says that hydrogen gas is produced by the use of clear fuel, which is very dangerous for humans. On which the politician Claire says that I did not have to agree to this project, but on Miles's request, I have agreed to make his power plant. And if this project stops, then I will be ruined. While spying on Birdie, Helen finds out that Miles was actually going to give money to Birdie, so that he can give a false statement in front of the media, that this company belongs to Miles, not Andy. So the same YouTuber Duke also told his girlfriend Whiskey to have an affair with Miles, so that Duke can take help from his girlfriend Whiskey and become a part of Miles's media company. Means everyone was supporting Miles here because something was happening in their benefit. And when Helen was going to tell the truth about Miles in front of everyone, then politician Claire and YouTuber Duke came to her, where Claire says to Helen that after reading your mail, me and scientist Lennon came to your house, where Duke was already there, but no one opened the door. And then after you left, Birdie also came here, but still no one opened the door. After which Helen goes and tells all these things to Blank. That is, when Helen sent a mail to prove her truth. After that, all 4 friends came to her house, but she didn't open the door. And then Blank's suspicions are removed from all four. But after arguing with Duke, Helen went and checked all four rooms. And she didn't find the original envelope anywhere, which was of the napkin. Now this was all the story so far. Now here in the present we see Andy, i.e. Helena, on whom someone shot and killed him. But Helen is still alive here, because the bullet hit Andy's diary, which Helen always used to carry. Now here Detective Blank had asked Helen to pretend to die, so that everyone thought she was dead. Now taking advantage of this, Helen goes to Miles' room, where she also gets the same original envelope behind the photo. That is, it is proven here that Miles had killed Andy and stole that envelope from his house. Now here Detective Blank says to Miles, "You mixed pineapple juice in Duke's glass because you knew that Duke was allergic to it. As soon as he drank it, he died." And then Helen comes there, who also has that original envelope. And then Detective Blank says, when Andy had sent you all that mail, that the company's idea was his, and he had also sent everyone the original copy of the napkin. So the same mail was also sent to Miles by scientist Lennon, which made Miles very angry, and came to Andy's house. And after killing Andy, he was driving fast, and then Duke was about to crash into your car. And this is what Duke had told us all, when you all were here at the pool. Then he tells that Duke, when Google News was coming. So he actually found out that Andy is dead, and his suspicion goes to Miles, because he saw Miles leaving his house. After that, Duke started blackmailing Miles, so that Miles includes him in his company, that is, Alpha News Network. Here Helen shows Miles Andy's napkin, on which the logo of the Glass Onion bar was made, and says, "This bar closed 9 years ago, and there is no such logo on your napkin." But then Miles burns Andy's napkin and says, "You have no evidence against me that I did all this, or I killed Andy." Now everyone decides to support Miles and refuse to testify against him. Then Detective Blank tells Helen secretly that if you want to destroy it, there is only one way. Let's destroy all his things. After that, his friends will be against him. And before going, Detective Blank keeps a piece of clear fuel in his hand, which was given to him by Miles himself. Now Helen starts breaking everything one by one, and in the end, she sets everything on fire. But even now Miles felt that nothing would happen. But then she shows the piece of fuel, which many people get scared to see, because this piece was highly flammable. And as soon as she puts it on fire, a very big blast happens. Outside the mansion, Detective Blank, sitting and watching all this. Here Helen goes and turns off Mona Lisa's security system, because of which the painting also catches fire. Everyone comes out, where Helen tells Miles that you have nothing left. Now seeing Miles destroyed, the rest of the people are also ready to testify against Miles. That is, Miles killed Andy and Dew.